I started.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. Thanks for coming. It's fantastic to have you guys all on Zoom. My name is Detective Rich Wistacki. With 30 years in law enforcement, I was a cyber crimes detective in Naperville for 30 years. I created this company called Be Sure Consulting back in 2010. And I didn't want to retire from Naperville, but I kind of had to. Something happened to me. I did something called a TEDx. You guys know what a TED Talk is? Kind of changed my life forever. And when I did my TED Talk, schools were calling me all over the nation. And currently, today, we teach over about 300,000 students and parents every year. I have 7 team members that I have carefully selected. Matt is one of them, and you're going to be thoroughly pleased on his message and all of my instructors that work for me. I am currently in Alpena, Michigan, teaching school officials and law enforcement. I am an internet crimes detective, and I have arrested over 300 internet predators in my career. So I took what I learned in internet crime investigations, and I researched the data on school shooters. And over the last 15 years, 93% of the school shooters posted online what they wanted to do before they did it. So which caused me to think about how I can use my cyber investigation talents. So I created a program. It's a 3-day class called Identifying and Intercepting the School Shooter or School Violence through something called leakage. And so in this 3-day class, Matt is one of my instructors. We have perfected a way on how to stop school shootings before it happens. The mission of this class is to give the student the mental health help they need before the shooting starts. And we use something called ECPA, the Electronics Communications Privacy Act. And it's this class is attended by school officials, your IT people, your social workers, your deans, your principals, your superintendents, mixed with local law enforcement and your school resource officers who may be coming to your school to handle your situations in Chicago. Unfortunately, Chicago had removed their SROs from the school, from CPS, which is unfortunate. It's just terrible. And but resource officers are, if they're certified, I wrote the law in the state of Illinois, mandatory training for resource officers. They need to be certified in order to be in a school now. And Matt is one of those instructors. So last year, we had stopped 55 acts of school violence. As of yesterday, we are on 19, and we're not even halfway done with the school year. Matt, myself, and a lot of our instructors, we teach about 400,000 students a year and parents all over the country. So when I'm traveling, I'm in Alpena, Michigan. Usually my instructors will take over for me, and all my instructors are fantastic. They have fantastic stories, and you're going to see, but they all thrive from the basis of this program. And you're going to hear from Matt. I have to step out into another meeting. I just wanted to take this opportunity to welcome you guys and thank you for caring. And Matt's has terrific stories, and we're going to be teaching your students with my 2 other instructors, Detective Rob Verber and Detective John Vanarek, who have fantastic skills in teaching your kids. So you're in good hands. I hope you enjoy the presentation tonight, and I'll leave it off to Matt.
Thank you, Rich.
All right. Well, are we ready to roll?
All you, Matt. Do you want to give yourself an introduction?
All me. Okay, I got you. We have a lot of fun in this class. I like to laugh. I don't look at myself as an authority. I look at myself as just I'm another parent that has the opportunity and privilege to just share some knowledge that I've learned from Rich and to share some of my experience. And then along with his training curriculum, I found it to be very simple and very easy to understand. See, I'm a father of 7. And I like to think that I'm not the most computer smart person in the world. So when I heard about this class and I seen Rich's stuff, I thought, okay, this is way too complicated for me. But then I saw how really simple it is. And I was like, wow, this, like, every parent needs to hear this. Like, this has done so much, it can do so much good for a child to protect them, for their social skills, for everything that comes along with what cell phones are, because cell phones are such a part of it's just reality. I'm old school. I'm almost 50. And I kind of fight against the new age, the new generation and all this technology, but it is a reality. We can't change it. So we got to learn how to adapt to it. And I think this class does such a good job of just introducing us to that part. So we're going to get it rolling with the slides. And here we go. This is what Rich says, keeping our kids safe. Well, first of all, I'm from Zion, Illinois. I've been an officer for 20 years. I did 11 years on the street. Then I was a detective for 7 years. And then I was lucky enough to get put into the SRO program that they brought into our school, which was beautiful. Because I love working with kids. And you can, the stress level is just different. It's a nice way that I'm going to end my career. I also run a nonprofit organization that's geared for the youth. I'm from Zion, Illinois. If you don't know anything about Zion, it's a small city, but it's a very busy city. We have our great significance of violence, shootings, drug sales. I've seen and worked everything you could possibly imagine. And when people ask me about crime rates, because that's the first thing people ask you when you tell them about your law enforcement experience, first thing they ask you is how busy your city is. I always give them this example that since I started my outreach program several years ago, that almost 70 of our kids have been hit with gunfire since I started. So we have a lot of busyness in our city alone. So it helps you see the world a little bit differently, and it helps you get more experience in working cases. I've worked tons of cases with phones, technology. It solves a lot of cases, and we've stopped a lot of crime, like Rich just said. So let's get rolling.
All right. And if you all have questions for Matt, please drop them in the chat and we'll find an appropriate place to ask those questions, okay?
Yep, I will keep an eye on my chat, and please forgive me. This is the first time I've ever done a meeting with the Zoom and with the screen sharing, as Miranda could probably attest to. I was a little slow in looking at it, so I'm going to do my best.
We're going to take care of you. Don't you worry.
Help me out, Miranda. Get my back.
I got you.
All right, we'll start going through the slides. It's pretty simple. It goes pretty fast. That's Rich, like he just introduced himself. That's the boss. He is the type of guy, Rich, I've learned over the years. He trained me years ago when I became a detective, and then he trained me again when I became a SRO. He's the type of guy that you could pick up the phone if you have an issue. You can call him anytime. I've never met a human being quite like Rich as far as his heart and wanting to help. I've literally he will take a call no matter what time of day. He's very accessible. He's not self-righteous or holier than thou. He's a very, very down-to-earth, loving dude. And you could really come to him with any question and he knows what he's talking about. He's the computer. He's the guy that I would go to with many questions, and I have over the years. So he does it all and knows pretty much everything when it comes to cyber crimes and law enforcement in general. This was him on TED Talk. If you can, the little access code square thing that I call it, you can access him anytime. And he's got his phone in the chat, so you can be sure that if you have any issues, he will for sure be there for you. All right, here's what we're going to cover tonight. Parenting your child's technology. It's shocking how many predators you will see on social media. It blew my mind the first time I saw some of these numbers. We're going to cover that. We're going to cover applications and how it's ever evolving. You have to stay on your child's device, period. I have 7 kids, like I said. They all have devices, with the exception of my 5-year-old. But even she has a tablet here at home that she can use. But you have to be very guarded because a lot of it, we have story after story. The cyber stalking thing, we're going to teach you what is illegal, what's legal, what you can report, and how to report it. Sextortion, which is a huge thing these days. We'll explain what that is and how to combat that. Obviously, cyberbullying could ruin lives at school. We deal with that all the time at the school. Sexting is prevalent, and these all go hand in hand. We're just going to cover how you can, number one, spot this stuff, and number 2, how do you deal with it, and how do you prevent it? All right. How is a 13-year-old affected by social media? Did you know this is one of the first things I learned was that social media has a minimum age. I did not know this. I see that because I work at school. So my school is anywhere from 11-year-olds to 14-year-olds. I did not know about the minimum age to be on social media, which is 13. So Rich goes into these schools here and he'll ask how many fourth and fifth graders have Snapchat, Instagram, and Twitter, and none of them are supposed to have it. But he'll ask and you'll see right here. He'll ask the little kids, and nobody really knows that the minimum age is 13. So obviously, number one, the student is obviously lying to get onto social media. So you got to find that out. I mean, obviously that's starting bad habits early when they're already lying to be on there. They're doing something they shouldn't be doing anyway. I did not know this either. And this is usually how the young brain works, is they'll round to 2000. When they do something about the age, and I'm sure that'll evolve over time, but what they usually will put is 2000 as their date of their year of birth, because it's just obvious. It'll tell them that you're older. So this is a real picture of Rich going into a school where none of them should have social media. He asked the crowd who has social media, and all their hands go up. So this is just a very telling picture. Always remember that 13 is the minimum age. The next thing that you need to learn in this is about the apps. I know I use a lot of slang terminology. I call myself an old head. So what that means is I'm not privy. I don't consider myself, I have to work to be up to date on what apps are, on what is new with the kids. I did not realize things like Facebook is for old people now. TikTok and Instagram are the hot things, and there's other evolving applications that come along. So we have to be able to keep up with this stuff. And when your kid is telling you about something, you have to know what they're even talking about, and that changes. I can attest that changes weekly. There's TikTok. There you go. We got Snapchat, which is huge. These are two of the top ones right now. Snapchat is in my opinion, was made to do bad. Fortnite, that's another one that all the young boys are on all the time. Instagram, that's still hot. We got Twitter, which is X now, obviously. Call of Duty, which every young man that I see is on all the time. Roblox, even for the little ones, my little 5 and 7-year-olds asked to get Roblox. I did not realize that these can be dangerous as well. Minecraft, you see a lot of the kids at my school on that all the time. Omegle, which is that one, a lot of people don't know what that is. That's where the eyes cover. They can play virtual games with their eyes. There's ways that you got to protect from that. Oculus. I'm sorry, Omegle. Oculus is the one with the eyes. Omegle, I got that wrong. Omegle is a different chat one that you can talk to strangers on. Obviously, that's what it says. YouTube Shorts, which is just like TikTok. It's the exact same thing. Be Real is another new one. All right, so Rich has a lot of examples of what he sees, and the worst thing a parent can do. I always use my own example because I live this, is thinking that your child, this couldn't possibly be them. I remember not too long ago, I have 6 daughters, and I opened one of their phones, and I was totally blown away by what I found. I never knew that my baby could use this type of language. I never knew that she was in contact with so many boys. I never knew that she even knew about a lot of this stuff. She had no business knowing about some of this stuff. And it shocked me. And I was one of those parents that thought, like, there's no way. My baby wouldn't do this. But boom, it hit me like a ton of bricks. So don't ever think that you know everything about your child. I learned a hard lesson. And I'm going to keep probably learn more because I have so many kids. All right, now Discord. And if you have any questions, just pop in and we'll see what we can answer here. Discord is like a chat room. It is a new one that the kids are always on. I didn't learn about this too much until Rich introduced me to what it was. And now I hear it all the time in the hallways. The school that I'm a teacher in is 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. And Discord is something that I hear all the time. Hit me up on Discord. It is basically a chat room that you can sneak in and take on different identities. You can talk to different people. See, so Oculus, here's another one that I was not that familiar with. I thought this was just like a virtual game that you were bowling on, that you were playing the boxing games, that you were doing the other different games that you could use motion on. I did not know that Oculus, you can venture off of that game into a chat room. So there's some tips if your kid uses Oculus that you need to always remember. No kid has any business going into a chat room with somebody they do not know. Always remember that. No kid has any business going into a chat room with somebody they do not know. And when you use Oculus, what you need to do is like I got right here. I have my speaker right here. Oculus, in a game like this that's virtual, it's got to be out in the open. You got to be able to hear it as a parent of a young person or a teenager. You have to be able to hear what's going on. It is so preventative because they can't hide nothing. When you got them little headphones and they're having little secret conversations, you don't know who's talking to them. You don't know what they're saying. So the rule of thumb is to always have a speaker, always have it out in the open, not in their room, maybe in a living room, and always be able to hear what conversations they're actually having. It happens a lot with my older son. I can't say much about him anymore, but when he's on his game, I can hear him talking, and I can hear, and I'm always pounding on his wall, like, bro, stop all that cussing, stop all, I can hear all of this stuff. He's older, but that is always a good idea to just keep it so you can hear it, so you can monitor it. I'm going to play these videos and let me know if you can hear them all right, because this happens quite a bit.
Fort Pierce man has been arrested, accused of kidnapping a Utah girl. Police are calling it the first case involving a virtual reality system. Police say Chris Evans talked with the girl for more than a month through Oculus. That's a virtual reality headset. Our investigative reporter Terry Parker is live tonight. And Terry, how did this happen on this gaming platform?
Well, if you don't know, Tiffany, Oculus is a meta platform game where you put on a headset, it covers your eyes, and then you play the game in virtual reality. It also has messaging and chat features, and experts warn that you need to be wary of who your child is talking to under those headsets.
Really is problematic. It's putting predators in touch with our children directly. It is these gaming platforms.
Online gaming can be serious. Virtual relationships can lead to real-life exploitation, according to Carla Yost of the Child Rescue Coalition.
Most all of the Oculus games allow for interactive communication. So you're actually in a room playing with people all around the world. When they play that game with them, they feel like they have that friendship, that bond and connection.
Wyoming police last Thursday found a missing 13-year-old Utah girl in the back of a semi-truck at a truck stop in Cheyenne. Police say 25-year-old Chris Evans of Fort Pierce had been communicating with the girl using Oculus for about a month, and then apparently made contact with her in Utah and took her to the truck stop. The girl was in good health and Evans was arrested.
And the most dangerous thing is they build a friendship with these children and really groom them through these chat rooms.
Oculus is different from most other games in that you can't see or hear what is happening behind your child's headset as they talk with strangers, some who could be potential predators.
And there's no written text of that conversation that they heard. There's no log of it, and there's no one really monitoring this. So it really is asking your kids these questions. Who are you're talking to?
And you can disable chats and messaging. And Yost tells me that's really important for young kids that you do that even if they argue against it. So they have a lot of other tips on how to protect your children from gaming situations, as well as other things that could be threats online. You can find them under the education tab on their website. And I'm going to put a link to that on my story on our WPVF.com. Terry Parker, WPVF 25 News.
Fort Pierce man has been arrested. Fort Pierce man.
All right. Remember that for Oculus. And here's a common theme, what they covered in that news story right now. No matter if your child kicks and screams, that's a huge one to remember. And here's what I'm going to keep saying over and over again. That is not your child's phone. That is your phone that you allow your child to use. The child does not have, as long as they're in your house and they're under 18, they don't have the rights of an adult. That is your phone that you allow them to have. And you should be able to access that at any time. Me and my wife do that constantly with our girls' devices. Just, hey, let me see your phone. And they're not allowed to say a word about it. So it just keeps them accountable. That'll be a common theme that you'll hear tonight. Here's one that's a big time issue with parents. What do you do when your child is on punishment? A lot of people think, well, do you take their device? But then if you take their device, how are they going to do certain things that they have to do every day? So I'm not here to tell you how to discipline your kid. I'm not here to tell you what works for me might not work for you. So judge for yourself, engage this, but always keep certain things in mind, because you never want to close that window of communication between you and your child. And this is what Rich calls it, the golden ticket is what he kind of named it. And it's really a good rule of thumb. Do you take your child's device away? I think, me personally, I can tell you what I personally do. I think to an extent, there's ways to take it away and limit it. But if my baby's coming home on the bus, I need to be able to talk to her. So she may still need her device. What do you have? What technology talk do you have? Do you have an open communication with your kids? You need to start having that. Find out what they're doing, what they're sharing, because their life is in their phone. That's literally how it works today. Your life is inside of your phone. It's just a fact of life. And it's like a tightrope walk between keeping your children's trust, making sure that they will communicate with you, but disciplining them at the same time. And I never do the minimum age thing for a cell phone. I don't recommend any age to limit a device for a child. That is up to the parent. I'm never going to tell you, well, it should be 10 and up or 12 and up. That's up to you. You know your child. You know what is convenient for you. Every household is different. So the minimum age thing is something that we don't talk about. That's really up to the parent. We don't believe huge, and I'm going to take your phone. I personally don't. I'm just going to take your phone and that's it. That just means they'll get better because their life is in their phone now. It's not like taking away. We used to get the TV taken away, but my life wasn't in that TV. It was a harsh punishment for me. But these kids, a lot of their lives are in their phone. A lot of their school resources are in their phone. A lot of their scheduling is in their phone. Everything is so technological now. Here's a video. It's a short thing. I would recommend watching this with your child. It's very, very informative. And it's I believe it's 90 minutes long, but here's the trailer to it. It will shock you some of the information on here too. This is a good supplement.
A long time ago, families were in communities. They were local, they were small.
I was born in the very depths of the Great Depression. I was put to work carrying wood, carrying water. I knew how to shell peas. I knew how to break beans. We still didn't have electricity.
I had few Instagram accounts.
I use Instagram, Snapchat, and TikTok.
TikTok and Fortnite. I can just scroll for hours on end, 11 hours a day.
8, 9.
Maybe like 12. It's actually been a way that we can keep track of them out there in the real world where things really are scary. The lives of kids were sort of changing slowly for a while. And then all of a sudden, most kids were able to get on social media, and that's when everything skyrocketed.
The rates at which they're experiencing problems continues to increase.
We also know that the teen suicide rate increased 56%.
Last year alone, we received over 18 million reports of international and domestic online child sexual abuse.
We have traded a false sense of safety and security for actually putting our kids in riskier situations. I call it the race to the bottom of the brainstem. So it starts with techniques like pull to refresh,
Everybody has like an addiction to it, but no one talks about
but
it.
it's just fast now and it's younger.
Well, yeah, like nudes of girls go around the school all the time.
At the beginning of the year, there were multiple suicides before school even started. There were men that wanted to talk to children at all hours of the day and night.
On Snapchat, one thought it'd be a funny idea to talk the other one into committing suicide.
And she did it. She's dead. After about 6 weeks, we were able to crack his phone.
Kids right now are gonna experience the worst of what we're going through.
Parents know that this happened.
No, my kid won't do that. My kid would never. My kid's school isn't like that. You're wrong.
Because what they see, they feel neurologically compelled to do.
Right now, we're effectively living in an experiment. How is this going to affect us? We'll find out. A long time ago, families.
All right, before I want to explain to you guys a little bit about what we think or what your perception might be of your typical predator. We think of it kind of as somebody that just happened, it was a bad circumstance that they got a hold of your child, or it was some random thing that you were just unlucky. But let me tell you about what predators do. Predators live and breathe to see who they can reel in. They just go fishing. This is what they do. A lot of them, I've arrested some and I've opened up their phones, and I've actually need counseling after seeing some of what was on their phones, and what their daily routine was to go looking for not just a kid or two. They would there's like scores of kids that they're trying to just fish for. It's like fishing in a pond, and you're just throwing your cast out there. They will cast lines all over the place to try to get. There's a lot of them out there, and I just want everyone to kind of grasp how bad it is. The amount is alarming. So sextortion is it's a new thing that's come along, and it can happen. It's not just from a predator. Sextortion can come from an acquaintance, an ex-boyfriend, somebody that just wants to bully your child. It's just it's basically just a form of extortion where a girl will send a girl or boy will send a compromising photo, and then once they have it, it's there forever. Kids don't realize that what you put out onto the web, it goes up in the cloud, it's there. There's no taking it down. Once you hit that send button, it's out there. So once somebody with an evil intent gets a hold of this, they can kind of make you like their slave. They can extort you. They can get money. They can get favors. They can get more videos, which is a huge one. And Rich has a punchline and a key phrase saying that he loves to have the students, and your students will be very familiar with this line when they come and visit. So here's how it kind of works.
Hi, Zach. Here's another video from my special guy. Can't believe we haven't talked all day. I wish you went to my school or closer so we could finally meet. Take it up. Dinner in an hour. Don't spend too long on the phone. I know you've been waiting for this for a while. I wanted to give you something special.
Matt, this video is not coming through as good. We can't hear. See if you can turn up the volume or something.
Who are you? Why are you doing this?
Matt, I don't know if you heard me, but we can't hear that video very good. Maybe you could send the link to that video so parents can see it again.
Rich, you heard that?
Yeah, Matt, when you hit share,
Uh-huh.
when you hit share, there is, you have to step out of share, and then when you share, there's two boxes on the bottom. Check those boxes and then share it. That
Okay.
allows everybody to hear the video. But that's okay. There's not much talking in that video anyways. But what parents, you have to understand, one internet predator can have up to 250 victims in their lifetime. So odds are, if something's happening to your child, there are 10, 20, 30 others being victimized by the same person. So toward the end of the presentation, Matt's going to show you the 5 things you need to gather as evidence to catch the person who's doing this. And as you can see at the end of this video, what happens is you can see all the file folders he had open, and she was just one of all those kids. So we need to, there's 2 reasons why the internet predator is so successful. The first reason is parents suffer from a deadly disease called the NMK syndrome. Now, how many students do you have in your school, Brenda?
We have 1,246.
So why are there not at least 1,000 parents in this breakout?
Good question.
The reason for that is because parents suffer from that deadly disease called the NMK syndrome. Not my kid. Across the country, ladies and gentlemen, no matter where I go, I can go to John Day, Oregon. I'm here in Alpena, Michigan right now. Less than 1% of the student body's parents will show up. You know why? I talked to my kid. He or she would never do that. But yet, what they don't understand, as Matt explained, because your kids think that nothing's going to happen to them, when they know they have to be 13 to set up a social network, right? So when they put in their date of birth, they're like, oh crap, I got to be 13. Let's see, do I go up with my date of birth or do I go down with my date of birth to be 13? Oh, heck with it. I'll just put in 2000. That'll get me in. When they put in 2000 as their date of birth, and when my instructors go to your class, they're going to say, how many of you put in 2000 because you didn't want to figure out the math? 75% will raise their hand. How old are they today? 23. So now I have a bunch of 10, 11, and 12-year-olds running around as 23-year-olds. Who's going to come talk to them? Adults. Who's going to send your babies inappropriate pictures and videos? Adults, because they're 23. Who's going to ask your kid to take naked pictures of themselves? Adults, because your kid is telling everybody that they're 23. The second reason why predators are so successful is that not only parents are not doing their job and putting monitoring software on them and allowing their kids to have their device in their rooms at night. That is a setting your child up for failure. Matt's going to explain that. But the second reason why is because you have police officers who have never been trained on how to take a cybercrime report, and they don't know what to ask. So they'll victimize the victim twice. They'll victimize you. And when you come to report it, I want to report that my son or daughter has been sextorted. Oh, wait, you want me to take a report because your kid's taking naked pictures? Yeah, he's being manipulated by an older guy. He's like, well, okay, but if I take the report, you know your kid's going to get arrested for taking the pictures. What? 75% of the time, ladies and gentlemen, police officers will tell you that because they've never been trained on how to take a cybercrime report or know anything about child exploitation. So they victimize the victim twice. And when they threaten you that they're going to arrest your kid for making the report, you're not going to make the report. And now the predator gets a way to victimize more children. Now, there's a difference here that Matt's going to explain. Sextortion for girls is different than sextortion for boys. Sextortion for girls is mostly about more pictures and videos, so they can build their collection. Sextortion for boys, as you're going to see here, is about the money. And here we go. All right, Matt, take it away. So when you share this, Matt, make sure those 2 boxes are checked on the bottom and then share it. When you come back to speak, hit share again, and then, or new share, and then uncheck those boxes when you want to talk. Okay?
Okay.
All right.
Let me see if this works. Can you guys hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay.
Probably in January of this year.
Can you guys hear that?
We
can.
hear you.
Okay. Okay.
Yes. And we've really kind of seen it exponentially grow around June.
Sextortion is a problem no parent wants to find their child caught up in. Compromising pictures or conversations threaten to be exposed.
And now law enforcement is seeing a new shift in how sextortion happens. It shows gangs targeting adolescent and teen boys instead of girls. Casey Cronus has more in tonight's special report.
It starts out simple enough. A young boy receives a social media friend request from a cute girl he doesn't know. But there's much more to that message.
So they'll do 100, 200, 300 friend requests in one single day.
Rich Wistocki is a retired Naperville cybercrime detective who now travels the country talking to students and law enforcement about cyber safety.
So we're seeing a break right now where gangs all over the country and all over the world are sex trafficking young girls. And their job is to engage in boys' conversations online and in video chat.
Once the boy and the girl are video chatting, Wistocki says the girl does this.
They ask the kid, do you like what you see? And then they start engaging in sexual activity over a webcam. Well, what's happening in the background? That gang person who has trafficked this young girl, screen capture, screen capture, screen capture.
Wistocki says the young girl will also ask the boy to see his face and his room, things that will make him identifiable. While that's happening,
in the background, they're copying all their contact information on their Snapchat and their Instagram. So when the sexual activity is done, the gang person comes up on the camera and says, now that we have you, you better send us $250 in gift cards.
Wistocki says some boys will go get their parents' credit cards so they can send the money to the gang that is sextorting him.
And then it's either being sent to the Philippines, the UK, Russia.
The trends that we're seeing are international offenders, specific kind of to West Africa, Nigeria, the Ivory Coast.
Chicago HSI Special Agent Susan Jensen investigates child exploitation cases. She's also seen this new sextortion shift.
Our office is receiving leads on a daily basis with individuals that have been exploited.
While it can be difficult to prosecute an overseas offender, Jensen says Homeland Security's Cybercrime Center is working closely with its international field offices and foreign governments to try to make that happen. There are steps you can take to protect yourself from becoming a victim.
A lot of what we're seeing now is Instagram and Snapchat, different social media sites where kids have their profiles that are unblocked, they're not private, and then they have their list of friends available for everybody to see as well.
Jensen says making your profile private is one of the biggest steps you can take to protect yourself from sextortion scams. She adds it's one kids don't often do.
One of the things we see are kids want to have several, hundreds, thousands of followers, so they'll leave their profile open and anybody can friend them.
Jensen and Wistocki say it's important to send investigators screenshots of everything that transpired, information on where they want the money to go, and user ID accounts. Lastly, have the technology talk with your kids. Let them know what the rules are when using their devices. And this.
No one has the right to make you do something you're not supposed to do. No one has the right to make you feel bad about yourself. If they're sextorting you, you need to tell your parents.
Another important step that our experts recommend parents take is no electronic devices in your kids' rooms when they go to sleep at night. And if you are planning on getting your child a cell phone as a holiday gift, Wistocki says make it an Android because you can monitor an Android phone more robustly than other types of cell phones. Casey Cronus, Fox 32, Chicago.
probably.
All right. So yeah, what Rich covered was the sextortion for boys. We've seen this quite a bit. I actually got a call from a parent several weeks ago, and it was the same thing. Her son sent some compromising photos. Guy wanted money. Guy wanted it now. It's out there, and they'll use the stuff that they come up with using it's mind blowing, and it's ever evolving, and you just got to be able to play defense against everything that you can to protect your child. All right, here's what you do. Your child has sent a sexual message.
Losing control of your nude images online is terrifying. And if you're a teen, it may feel impossible to reverse it. Well, you can't go back in time and unsend. We can help you move forward.
So there is technology to combat this. If you want to write that down, take it down. That is a resource that you can use. What it will do is it'll go down on the cloud and get that, do what it can to take it down for you. Once it's on the cloud, it's very difficult to do. So we want to stop it before it gets to the cloud is what the main purpose of this, showing you guys these classes. All right, and what they covered in that news flash. You guys can still hear me okay?
All good. You sound great.
All right, just checking it. Do I allow my child to charge their device in their room at night? I used to do this until I learned this class, actually. I was not very cognizant of this. I'm like, okay, she's going to sleep. I check on my kids at night, but the phone is still in the room. But that's a terrible habit to have. So that's what predators, I mean, there's an old saying, the creeps come out at night, the freaks come out at night. And that's literally what happens. Predators will know. They know that parents are asleep. They know that they can go fishing. Kids are likely to be in their room with their device. So let's take that out of the equation. I'm pointing right at my kitchen, right here, where we have our little port. Every night about 8 o'clock, me and my wife would say, all right, all boats in. So they know it's just the recommendation. They come and they will physically hand me their device. Every one of my kids, until they're old enough. Obviously, my older ones don't have to. But that is such a good habit to be in. That way you're always safe. You always know where it is. For me, it's in the kitchen because we can hear everything in this room. For you, it may be right next to your bed in case you got a kid that may want to come out and sneak. So just have that's a good principle to have. Turn them in at night and you can avoid so many of these issues. Here's one of the big mistakes that we covered earlier. Don't be that parent that thinks, and I believe we had a chat about it a little bit earlier. Don't be that parent that thinks, this is my angel. I learned that the hard way. It broke my heart. It actually kind of traumatized me because it keeps that in your head, but I'm glad it happened because I can't be the one that says, this wouldn't happen to me. My daughter wouldn't do that. Allow phone, that's a good question. I got a chat on here. I'll just answer it out loud. At what age do you deem appropriate to allow phones in the bedroom? A lot of times my older daughter, she's nearing the end of high school. I would say about then. I got adult children who obviously 18 and up it's their phone now. I would say that I would never set an age, but I would set how well do you know your child, how much do you trust them as far as staying up all night on that thing. But there are safeguards if you still want to allow them to have it. Maybe they're doing homework late. Maybe you don't have, maybe you go to bed early. There are safeguards that we're going to tell you about that you can put on their phone so that you can still monitor them, even if you have to do that situation. My kids are, my younger ones are 5, 7, 8, and 11. None of them can have their phone at night. I have a 15-year-old, she's about to be 16. That's a little hit or miss because she does have a lot of things that she has to do via her phone, but we do monitor that very, very closely. So I'd say that's a subjective parental decision, but I would not recommend it for anyone that's is not even allowed to be on social media yet.
So the fact of the matter is that, again, this is where your kid is going to get victimized when you allow this. My kids, they had Androids all the way up until they went away to college. all the way up until they were 17 years old, they were not allowed to have their device in the rooms at night because they think that they're indestructible, right? They think that they can go and say anywhere and nobody's going to hurt them. Well, when they get hurt is in their bedrooms at night. That's when they're going to get hurt, especially with boys. They got the hormones raging. Like I showed on the video, sextortion for girls is different than sextortion for boys. They get this really cool, cute girl that wants to take their clothes off in front of them and convince them to take their clothes off. It's going to happen. The calls that Matt and I get every week from parents when their boys are being sextorted. Here's what I have to tell you. We're going to tell your students, don't pay the money if this happens to you. In internet crime investigations, we have the ability to shut down any account anywhere in the world through something called the preservation letter. There are 5 things you're going to need to grab that Matt's going to explain to you, but we can shut them down within 2 hours. Don't pay the money. And these are things we have to talk to your kids about because we're going to bring it up to them on how this happens. And they get a friend request on Snapchat, and all these girls are being sex trafficked. And a lot of these girls are really pretty, and their only job is being trafficked is to send friend requests to your teenage boy. And then 3 days later, they go on Snapchat and say, hey, what's up? Not much. How about you? On board? You want to go on Instagram video chat? Now the trafficker is watching this girl very closely. And as this girl gets your son to take his clothes off and start masturbating in his room, in his bedroom at night with his technology, screen capture, screen capture, screen capture. And now they're going to sextort your boy. And hormones are raging. So when you ask the question, I would never let my kid have until they were 18, until they left for college, because I can't control it anymore. They're in college. But again, we have to mentor our kids. So what is the blowback you're going to get from this, right? If you decide all of a sudden to change this rule, but I needed to wake up in the morning. And you're going to say, well, I'm going to go to Walmart and buy a $10 clock. That's what you're going to use. But I need 2 or 3 alarms. Okay, go on Amazon, buy 2 for $3, right? And then they're going to have, you put it up in strategic places. Now they're going to have to get up to shut it off, right? So you got to be parents. And this is a steadfast rule. Out of the 300 arrests that I made on child predators, when I had a real victim and I wasn't playing undercover, every single real victim had a parent that allowed them to charge their device in the rooms at night. So please understand how dangerous that is.
Speaking of going, we can locate anywhere. Where's the farthest you've been, Rich, to arrest somebody?
So when it comes to social media and gaming online, no one online is anonymous. There's nobody I cannot find. The farthest I've been to make an arrest was Finland. I had one of the most prolific hackers of our time take down Sony. He swatted my house. He swatted an FBI agent's house that I was working with because we were getting so close to him. And we charged him with 50,000 counts of criminal activity, and we arrested him in Finland. There isn't nobody we can't touch. There's no such thing as being anonymous on social media or gaming platforms.
I ain't been to Finland yet. Farthest me and my partners was we didn't travel out there, but we tracked them down to Florida. Florida handled them for us. This is where you got to be very cognizant of moms. Moms, I will give it to you. Your maternal instinct is way better than us dads. It's just something about, because you carried them for 9 months. You guys can tell things way quicker than us dads can. And it's uncanny. I'm envious at times, but you guys this is what you do. Don't ignore your maternal instincts. Here's another thing that you have to learn. These are some great advice, and I've learned the hard ways on my older kids. I won't go so far. I won't make that mistake with my younger kids. Never tell your kids what you did at that age, because what do you think they're going to do? The minimum thing they're going to do is what you tried. And then what are they going to say? Well, you did it. Don't tell them war stories. You can, it's okay. It's okay to not talk about something. You're not lying by omission, but you don't have to admit, hey, well, when I was your age, we smoked weed, or when I was your age, we were able to go get beer from the corner store and drink it. Like, Those war stories don't need to be told. They don't need that because obviously they're just going to do the minimum.
Meeting a teen girl online is actually pretty easy. You can go into any chat room and just start talking. Most of the girls are usually so insecure and desperate for
Attention from older guys is totally flattering. They're so much more mature and understanding than the guys my age.
Age actually works to my advantage. They like to brag to their friends that they're dating an older guy, so I just play along and pretend I'm really interested.
Interested in the same things I am. You can talk forever and really get to know someone without worrying about looks or whatever. That's the best thing about
Chatting seems unthreatening to them, so they lower their guard. After a while, I start talking about how we're soulmates and how lucky we are to have found each other.
Other people don't understand. I know what I'm doing. If you really care about each other, there's nothing wrong with
Meeting them is the goal. Once I get them out of their house, well, that's when things get really interesting.
Online predators know what they're doing. Do you?
And let me tell you something, these aren't just locals. I had a case maybe a year or two ago. I'm Northern Illinois, I'm Zion, so I'm a little bit north of you guys. But we had a case one town over. It was a young man who came all the way from Ohio and picked up a young lady. I believe she was 12 or 13. Luckily, her sister was kind of privy to it and they were able to catch him before he got her to the hotel, but that was his plan. But think about that. He drove all the way from Ohio with this plan. So imagine how many girls in between that he tried to lure. It's pretty scary.
Meeting a teen girl online.
All right. How many webcams do you have? By a show of hands. I can count right now. There is 7 in this room with me right now. Everybody has a camera. They're everywhere. Laptop. All my kids got Chromebooks, even my little ones. The minute you start elementary school, you get a Chromebook. Desktop, obviously the phones, any tablet.
Rich or Matt, either one of you guys can answer that question, this question that we have, which is, do informative conversation with our kids mitigate the dangers? Does educating them to the dangers of the internet help?
So here's where we need to approach this, okay? So when I'm teaching your kids, when my team is teaching your kids, they're going to ask the kids, how many of your parents had a technology talk with you? And they'll raise their hand. Does your technology talk go something like this? If you take bad pictures, if you cyberbully anybody, if you do give out personal information, you're going to be grounded. I'm taking your phone away. You're not going to see the light of day. You're not going to hang out with your friends, and the doors are going to come out the hinges of your bedroom. If you ever, right? So when you do that, the next question we have for your kids, and we ask them, how many of your parents gave you that type of pep talk when they gave you a phone? 60% will raise their hand. Okay, if you're catfished or if you make a mistake online, are you going to go to your parents when you're in trouble? And they all say absolutely not. They will never come to you. So Matt talked about the golden ticket rule, right? So when Matt also showed you the Childhood 2.0, this is a documentary motion picture that we made with BARC. I'm on the BARC team. The BARC team consists of myself. There's emergency room pediatric doctors, there's psychologists, sociologists, clergy. We make up the BARC team, and we made this motion picture. It is what elementary, middle school, and high school students are doing behind their parents' backs. So here is how I want you to talk to your kids about technology. I encourage you to watch the Childhood 2.0. It's on YouTube. It's an hour and a half and it's free without your kids. If you think your kid can handle the information that's being shared there, watch it with them. When you watch it with them, be ready to pause it. But when you pause it, don't be like when you go over a topic and we bring it up. Hey, okay, pause. You're not doing this, are you? What do you think they're going to say, parents? They're going to be like, no, I wouldn't say that, Mom. The appropriate ask is going to be pause. So tell me what you know about this. And they're going to be, well, Jimmy, and I heard Susie, and I heard this, and I heard that, and I know that so-and-so did. When you don't involve themselves, they're going to give you the information. So how do we have this technology talk? We talk to you about the golden ticket. Say, look, I know your dad and I were threatening you and telling you, if you ever do this, I want you to throw that out the window. If anybody ever makes you feel uncomfortable, you need to come to us. Even if you made a mistake, you need to come to us, and we're going to give you that golden ticket. When we give you that golden ticket, that means there's not going to be any consequences. We're not going to take your phone away. We're not going to ground you. We're not going to keep you out with your friends, because we are responsible. See, parents, you are not only responsible for your kids' food, clothing, shelter, and education, you are responsible for their technology as well. That's number one you have to understand. Number two, there is no such thing as privacy for children. None. All the way up until you're 18, you own everything about your kid. I don't care if Nana, Nonu, Tia, Tiu, Grandma, Grandpa bought them that iPhone 15 for Christmas. They don't own it. You allow them to have it. Okay? Number three, if your kid ever changes the code on the phone so you can't check on them, that's a consequence. That's a consequence. You have to have free access, and you can't get into it because they changed the code. Time to grab it back. I always tell my parents, just go to Amazon and buy a flip phone. It'll cost you about 20 bucks. And you just leave it on the kitchen counter. And as they go to school, they're going to say, what's that thing? Oh, that's a flip phone. For what? That's for you if you don't shape up. Because I'm going to give that to you if I catch you doing anything on that phone, and I have to be able to get in your phone. Let me tell you why I say this. A couple of years ago, I was down in Charleston, Clinton, Illinois. I was doing this parent presentation on a Thursday night. The chief and the sheriff took me out to dinner, and I leaned over to the chief and I said, Chief, who's doing your cyber investigations, your police department? Are they ICAC trained? He goes, oh, no, I only have 1.5 detectives, and they're way too busy. I just send everything to state police or the FBI. And I said, well, I'm sorry to hear that. I said, here's my card. If you ever need anything, let me know. So it was a Thursday night. Monday morning, I'm heading out to teach law enforcement at the academy, and I get a call about 6:30 in the morning, and it's a Clinton detective. And he goes, are you Rich Wostacki? And I said, yeah. He goes, my chief told me to give you a call. I'm way over my skis on this case. I said, sure, what do you got? And he goes, well, I had two 12-year-olds in Snapchat girls. One of them, this happened Saturday night, Sunday morning. Again, having your device in your bedrooms at night, nothing good happens. One of the girls thought it would be funny to talk the other girl into committing suicide. And she did it. She's dead. I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I was like, all right, did you see the messages? And he's like, no. I was like, what do you mean? You got the devices, right? He goes, yeah. So why can't you see the messages? Because the kids locked their parents out and they couldn't see the messages. It took us 6 weeks to break into that phone because the parent didn't know the code to get in. Can you imagine going 6 weeks, your child's dead, and you have no idea how they got there? Again, this is the reason why you have to have technology talks with your kids. What's appropriate, what's not. You can do that by instituting the golden ticket rule. You give them a pass, but they have to come to you. The second thing is watch Childhood 2.0 with them and have that open discussion.
Go ahead, Rich, I'm sorry.
And I hope that answers the question.
So it looks like we have a couple of other questions too.
Sure.
One is, did cyber crimes increase with the pandemic? Genuinely curious, coming from the Chicago public schools where my 3 kids were going to school online for 6 hours a day for a year. It made it a lot harder to monitor their device usage. Now they're 20, 18, both of my olders are in college now, and one is a 16-year-old at DePaul Prep. In high school, most of their work, at least at DePaul Prep, is done on iPads, which again makes it harder for parents to monitor and know what's schoolwork and what's personal work.
Okay, so let me tell you a little secret. So at DePaul, you guys are using iPads?
Yes.
So what web filtering are you using? GoGuardian, Securely, Bark?
Jamf. Did you hear me?
Yes, it is in the Bark app will be.
JAMF. Jamf. And what's the other one? Oh, Gaggle. We use Gaggle to monitor explicit content.
Okay.
And
So is go ahead.
life-threatening content.
Yes. So correct me if I'm wrong, but any parent can contact your IT and say, hey, for the past 4 weeks, I want to know every website they were going to. They can print out a report on that device and you can get the printout of what they're doing. Can you do that with Gaggle?
I do not believe that is within our capabilities.
Okay.
I can ask.
So yeah, you need to ask because mostly you can with Bark, GoGuardian, Securely, Content Keeper. You can ask the IT for a printout and they'll give you an Excel spreadsheet of every place your kid went on that device. So to answer your question, did they become more savvy? Yes, they did. So let's take Omegle, for example. Omegle is no longer in existence because of this reason. Omegle was chat roulette. And so when kids went on it, they gave permission for their webcam and their microphone to be turned on. And every 10 seconds, someone from anywhere in the world, every 10 seconds would show up on their screen. Half the time, they would be naked men masturbating. So when I would ask them how many, I just click it and you see Omegle come up and they all start laughing. I was like, why? Why do you guys want to go there and see a bunch of naked dudes? You know what they say? Because it's funny. It's not funny. So because they were using Omegle and it was being exploited, Omegle got a lot of back because so many predators were using it. Predators go where the kids are, right? So they just got shut down last month. Sorry, Matt, I didn't tell you that you need to take that off your slides. But last month they got and that happened and kids found out about it during the pandemic. Any other questions?
I don't have anything right now. Chat is quiet at the moment.
Go ahead, Matt.
Okay, I'm trying to reconnect this speaker, so give me 2 seconds. Rich, we had the speaker die out on me. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, I'm just getting this reconnected. Give me 2 seconds. There we go. We back?
Yeah. We can.
All right. Okay. Thank you guys. Sorry about that. This is I'm used to being in person. So here we go. So this is a question that you would have for
play your slide, Matt.
Can you see it?
Play your slide. Yeah, there you go. Try it again. Reshare it. Reshare it. Hit share screen. And now play it on the bottom. Bottom right. Or top, whatever.
We good?
Nope, can't see it. We only see the screen with all the slides on the left. You have to play it. Hit play.
Hitting play here.
See at the bottom right? Go to bottom right.
Uh-huh.
So, okay, yeah, hit that. See where the slide is? Okay, not that one. Next one. Next one. Go over to your left. Over to your left. Over to your left. Yes. Okay, click on that.
Can you see it?
Give it a second. You didn't. Did you click it?
Yep.
No, it's not going.
Says,
Yeah.
Hold on.
Enable editing, hit that. Hit enable editing. You're in protected view.
Hit enable, what am I hitting?
See the yellow bar right there? See the yellow where it says protected view, be careful?
No, I don't see that anywhere in here.
Stop your share and go back into it.
Would you like me to put you as a co-host, Rich? Too?
Yeah, you might as well.
Okay.
Then I'll open it up. I'll start mine. Let me see here.
Oh, so-
Let me bring mine up.
Are there any questions that we can answer for anyone while we're getting the technical difficulties out? So we've learned quite a lot. It's quite traumatizing, always reminds me of the things I should check on with my own daughter.
Ne mamma 9 grossi. 9? Yeah.
Anna, you might want to mute. We hear you speaking.
Okay. Go down here. Let's see where we left off at. Okay. Okay, we see the laws here.
We good?
We're good. We see.
Okay. So, in covering, you guys should know what the laws are in the state of Illinois. When it comes to cyberbullying, we use the Harassing and Obscene Communications Act. And basically what it says, and it's a really horrible, horrible cyberbullying statute, is what it says is when you make any comment, request, suggestion, or proposal that is obscene with the intent to offend. So if someone told your student, why do you even come to school? Why don't you just go kill yourself? That's not a crime in Illinois. Okay? If there's no sexual content of it being obscene, we can't investigate it. Now, you guys are very lucky that you have House of Representative Margaret Croakey that handles your district. She just came up with a fantastic school code and defined cyberbullying in a fantastic way. So now in Illinois, if your child is being cyberbullied in school, within 24 hours, they have to tell the parents. That's the new law. And within 10 days, that account needs to be investigated and it has to be all wrapped up. Well, we can't investigate it if there's no law to make it illegal. So I'm trying to work with Margaret Croakey. She has not responded to my calls or my messages or my emails. So if any of you know her, tell her to please reach out to me because we want to put this on the criminal side. And we want to make it, making any comments, suggest, proposal as obscene with intent to offend, and or causing emotional distress, provoking a breach of the peace, annoying, or any type of threat. So we want to change the statute, and I'm in the process of doing that. We tried to do it in the last session, but the ACLU wasn't having it. And so we have to rework it another way. So that's a cyberbullying statute. Cyber stalking, when there are 2 or more occasions directed at a specific person, and he or she knows or should know that this 2 or more occasions would cause a reasonable person to fear for his or her safety or safety of a third person. So unfortunately, if you live in Chicago, a lot of times when you try to report this stuff, they're so busy with all the murders, they're not going to do anything, which is unfortunate. Chicago PD used to have a program called the SOMEX group, Social Media Exploitation. A very good friend of mine was the commander of that unit. And after the riots, they disbanded it. So it's unfortunate, but we're going to show you what the laws are, and maybe you get lucky if this is happening to your child, to get the right police officer. False personation, we asked this question when we talked to the kids. How many of you know someone, or maybe it happened to you, where a fake account was made to make you look bad? Now, this is the new cyberbullying, parents. Kids are making fake accounts to make it look like your kid's accounts. And then what happens is they threaten the school, threaten others, making it think that your kid did it. But again, what I tell my officers when I train them, if it looks like a duck, quacks like a duck, and walks like a duck, it's not a duck. When it comes to social media investigations, you have to follow the process that I've trained them in. You have to do subpoenas on the user ID. When we get the IPs, we do a subpoena on the IP, and then we find out who it is. Okay? Only until then should you ever make a move to find out who it is, because these kids are so good at copying social networks, you can't even hardly tell the difference unless you do the investigation.
That happens all the time.
So here's a big one, especially with TikTok challenges, all the time. So we are going to tell your kids, it is illegal for any person to knowingly make a video recording or transmit live video of another person without that person's consent in a bathroom or locker room. So if you're videotaping and Snapchatting a fight, dances, someone going to the bathroom, someone having sex in the bathroom, you're committing a felony if you put it out there and we can trace it. So your kids need to know that that's illegal. I think there's a few questions here. Let's check it out.
Yeah, this is being recorded.
Rich, it says,
Yep.
you were going through a list of items to keep in mind, and you stopped at number 3 before you started helping with the tech stuff. You should always have access to your kid's phone. What were the other lists?
So the first one was there's no such thing as privacy for children, right? The second thing is they own nothing, right? And you own that phone, it's yours. And number 3, if your kid changes the access code to their device so you can't get into it, that's a consequence. And they're going to flip phone. So make sure you are able, and spot check that, because you own that phone. That's what it was. And number 3, make sure you're able to access the phone and they have not changed the access code.
All right, I think I got everything, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
to add on to the bathroom thing, this is a new trend actually in the bathrooms now. It is not even a serious fight. They slap box. Kids will run in there. They don't even have to be enemies. They go in the bathrooms and they just want this videotape of themselves fighting in the bathroom. They slap box each other. This is out of control in my school, and it's a trend around it that they've been posting to Snapchat quite a bit. So keep an eye for that stuff.
Matt, you want to take exit plan?
What's that?
You want to take exit plan?
Yes, sir. All right. So exit plan is an excellent idea, and this all plays hand in hand with the tightrope I talked about, the communication with your child, for them to know to trust you, because the ultimate goal is they want you, or you want them to be able to come to you and not be afraid of you because of the consequence. So what we have, what a good idea for a household is to come up with a secret word that to help them save face, and to help them get out of trouble and know that there's not going to be a consequence. Perfect example that Rich first taught me was when, let's say I got a 15-year-old, let's say she's at a party, and she's at a party, that she's not expecting that maybe certain people are there. Maybe they're doing things that they shouldn't be doing at the party, and she's not comfortable with that. But who does she tell when she doesn't have to be home for 3 more hours and she's afraid to tell the parent to come and get them? So an exit plan, a good word or a phrase that you can use, just pick one. For my house, a key word that we use is avocado. It could be banana. It could be anything that you know that if your child texts this to you, you can come back and text them or call them with a story. Say, oh, well, your grandma just got sick. I can come and get you. To make up anything. So that way they don't lose face with their friends, but at the same time, they can stay safe and know that there's not going to be a consequence if they are to call the parent, because that is a key. You don't want your kid being out in a bad spot because they're afraid to call you and come get, and have you come get them out of it. So you got to come up with the exit plan is just a great strategy. And talk about this with all your kids when it comes, especially when it comes to the age of them going to attend parties or dances or to be driven around by friends. It is an excellent plan, and and it'll keep the line. And at the same time, it builds trust between you and your child. They know that, you know what, I can come to them with my issue, and it opens up a whole new door of communication and trust between you and your child. So it's a great plan.
So your kids have to have an exit strategy, right? If they go to a house, an apartment, a condo, and maybe there's gangbangers there, maybe there's people smoking weed, maybe there's people drinking, and they know they're not supposed to be there. So like my kids, it was XXX. Matt had avocado, I had XXX. If my boys had XXX, I had to make up a story to get them out of there. So it's like a lifeline, right? So I would say something like, hey, Nana fell. I think she broke her hip. I got to pick you up now. I need help getting her to the hospital. So they're in wherever they're at. They know they're not supposed to be. They're like, oh, I got to go. Something happened to my grandma. They're going to be, sit down. Nothing's wrong. Look at the text from my mom. Something happened to my Nana. I got to go. And out they go. Now it's up to you what kind of parent you want to be. Now you may use exit plan and say, I'm going to show you this exit plan. This is the emoji we're going to use. This is the thing we're going to use. Whatever you pick. And when I pick you up, I'm not going to ask you any questions. I'm not going to interrogate you. I'm just glad you're using smart choices. So you give the power to your kid. But if you're a parent that's going to be say, oh, hell no. Who was there? What were they doing? Why'd you use this? Yeah, that's me. That's what I do. But not every parent's the same, because I run by fear. So I'm the heavy in my house, right? So my wife runs the roost. I'm free. I'll admit it. She wears the pants in the family. But if I'm the heavy, they don't want to disappoint their dad. Okay. When she says, I'm going to call your father, I only had to come home once and I never came home after that. It all depends on your parenting, right? My older son is a firefighter, paramedic, SWAT medic. He's 28 years old. And my younger son's a police officer. He's getting ready to be hired by another police department. So they're all in public service, and it really worked out really well for them.
I actually used this one a few years back, Rich. I used this with my oldest daughter. She was on a date, actually. She was on a date. Yeah. And she was of age. She's probably 18 or 19 at the time, but it worked the same with her. I said, I'm not gonna hurt the dude, but tell me where you at, baby. Give me a location. Luckily, she shared it, and I made up a story. I just said, well, tell him your mom just got sick and I got to rush you to the hospital because we're going to go see her. Anything like that. But it works the same way. So.
Yeah, awesome. All right, go ahead, Matt. You can take this one.
All right. Yeah, this is one of the 3 Ps. And we use it. I use this with the students all the time at school too, Rich. Never text or send anything that you wouldn't do in front of your parent, your pastor, or your principal. I mean, it's very, very simple. I use this quite often. I actually think of this for my own sake when I'm doing too much, as if my wife would say, watch what you text. And this is a fail-safe, this is a foolproof plan if you stick to this strategy. Now, these are the steps to how you can do it. And I'm a big advocate, Rich knows I'm a big advocate for making sure that the police do their job correctly. And this is what we need from you. And this is this is what we need. First of all, you got to know that it fits a crime. That's what Rich went over earlier. We got to know that this is an actual crime and that we can prosecute. And it's never a bad idea. If you don't know, just give the non-emergency a call. Call dispatch, say, hey, this is what I have. Is this a crime? Is this reportable? If you don't ask, you won't find out. So ask first. We're not expecting you to memorize all the Illinois statutes, but ask first, find out if it's a crime. And then once it is, then this is what you need to do. And this is what, if there's one time in this place, in this presentation that you take a screenshot of this, it's these steps right here. Anyone can handle it. It's very, very simple. And the screen capture is, everyone pretty much knows how to do that. And there'll be Rich has a slide coming up where it tells you exactly how, but everyone nowadays should know how to screen capture. That's what you do. And the user ID is very, very important. If you're on a social media, an Instagram, a Snapchat, a Facebook, we've actually had one. Snapchat is the one I've had the most experience with and the most negative time with. You have to know where that user ID is, and we'll point it out to you in a second. But I remember we had a shooting case. I don't remember if it was if the person ended up dying or not, but we had a case where all we had was the screen name and not the user ID. And it was heartbreaking because that screen name is worthless without that user ID. So remember that, get that user ID, because that's how we track everything. Do not report it on social media. That's a parent's first instinct. Oh, I'm gonna go report them and get this down. Don't do that. What we do, let us take over. What we do is we type, it's called, it's a letter that we send. It's called, what is that called? It's slipping my mind right now, Rich.
Preservation letter.
Preservation letter. Sometimes I've been hit the head a lot, so please forgive me.
Take your Prevagen, bro.
Preservation letter is what we type out. It's very simple for us to do. Let us handle that part, because once you report it, it throws a hiccup into our process and how we can get it down ourselves. Always write a detailed and typed statement. The state's attorneys always want to prosecute. They want as much backstory and as much meat to the case as they possibly can. So write out a statement. It's going to be most likely videotaped or audio taped on the body cam, but that supplements every case. And then the state will know that you're serious. You're writing this down, putting your name to it. So they'll know that we're going to take this case very seriously. And then get a flash drive. PDs, if you don't have one at home, PDs, most of us carry them. We got a ton of them. Any officer in our PD, and I would assume most PDs, has access to these. We can get it all in one little zip drive, and we take it, and we have everything we need to go after what we need. And like Rich always keeps saying, we will track anybody, anytime, anywhere. If it goes in the cloud, we will find it.
Real quick question. Can you repeat what's needed for Snapchat?
I'll get to that.
It's terrible.
Yeah, we'll get to that. So make sure when you do a detailed type statement, okay, you only do this if there has been no contact of an insulting and provoking nature, okay? So if they have not had sex, if they had not been made to make child pornography, then we can get the statement. Make sure I want details. Like, for example, I was in Roblox. My gamer tag was this, and his gamer tag was that. We played for about 2 months, and then we went to Discord. And in Discord, he sent me these pictures, and this and that happened, and this is how it made me feel. Because as law enforcement officers, as we're typing up search warrants, the Supreme Court says that we cannot be alarmed and disturbed. Police officers cannot be alarmed and disturbed. But you, as victims and reporting persons, can be. So we want a detailed description as to what happened and how it made you feel. Now, if there has been some type of sexual conduct, don't make the statement. They have to go to someplace called the CAC, which is the Child Advocacy Center. And there only is one interview that they can take. So with that said, make a detailed type statement, print everything out, and then save it on a flash drive. Not one flash drive, 2 flash drives, because sometimes cops lose stuff. And so you have to keep one as backup in case they lose it or they put it in evidence and the detective follows up with you. And now, well, I have another flash drive. Okay. So these are the things you need. So if you wanted to take a picture of this, whip out your phones right now, and just so you have it, and God forbid any of this stuff happens to you, okay? You have to go through the video. You have it all the time. So these are the 5 things we need if you're going to make a report. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go into, everybody should know how to do a screenshot on an iPhone 10 and above, it's a squeeze at the top, or the new phones, the 13s and above, you just double tap the back and it'll take a screenshot. For Android, you can use volume down and power or palm swipe to capture. And then you got to print those out and make them a file. Okay. Now, where are the user IDs? In Instagram, it's the name at the top. Okay. In TikTok, it's at and then the name. All right. Now in Snapchat, it's not the top name, it's the bottom name. So when you see chat in Snapchat, that is not the user ID. I always have to instruct, and Matt always has to instruct the students, no, this is, I need the chat, but I need you to go to that profile and take a picture of the picture. Because if you screenshot it, it's going to send the suspect an alert that you took a screen capture, and the cat may be out of the bag then. Okay.
And that top name you could change all day long, so that's pretty much worthless to us. It's the bottom name.
Yeah, we need this bottom name right here. Okay. A lot of your kids have their location services on their Snap Maps. Okay. If the location service is on, anybody who follows your kid can locate them within 20 feet of where they're at. Now, remember when we were kids, how did we find out what was going on a Friday night? People told us in school, maybe we paged someone, right? Or we called someone, hey, where are you hanging out? Where's this? All our kids have to do is open up their Snap Map and they can see where all their friends are hanging out, and they're going to go to the most popular place. Now, in order to turn this off, you just go to your cog wheel right over here, and then go to ghost mode and turn it on so it shuts off location services. Okay? Let me check the match. Repeat what is needed for Snapchat. Do not remove it. Okay. Those of you who need to join, jump in. Can I repeat what is needed for Snapchat? So, all right, let me go back. So we need the bottom name. So when you see messages in their Snapchat or their story, it's going to be between your kid and the person they're talking to. That is not the user ID. That's the screen name. You need to go to the profile of the Snapchat. And then this is what it's going to look like. It's going to be on the bottom. Did you cover Vault, Matt, yet?
No, yeah, that hasn't come up yet.
Okay. All right. So then they have to write, get a flash drive, write out details, say what detail, create a narrative, emotion, and emotion, how to make you feel, right? So let me go back. Okay. So if you want to take a picture of this, take screen captures of everything. We need the user ID. Do not report it to the social network. If you're going to report it to the police, you want us to find out who it is. Make a detailed type statement and how it made you feel. Print everything out and put everything on a flash drive for the police. Okay, so let me move forward. So you guys should know that what happens is when you take a screen capture, a screenshot in Snapchat, it sends the person an alert indicating to them that you took the screen capture. Well, it's too late. They already got it. So that's why we have to keep training your kids about the 3P test. If you were to show it to your parent, your priest, or your principal, what would they say about it, right? If you can hear them say, oh my God, I didn't know you can dance like that. Go ahead and send it. Who cares? But if you can hear any one of your 3P saying, why would you do that? Why would you embarrass your church and our family like that? Understand that that could be used against you in a sextortion issue. Because of this rule, guys, we have to show our kids that there are third party apps that are called screen recorders. This could be running in the background of your Snapchat, and you can record the screen and everything your screen sees, and you won't even know they're doing this. So I want to show you a little exercise that we do. Okay. So I want all the parents, all 47 of you, to take out your phones. Take them out. I want you to go to your App Store or your Google Play if you have an Android. And I just want you to type in a search for hide my pictures or hide my videos. Go ahead and do that now. Go to your App Store or your Google Play and type in the search, hide my pictures or hide my videos. You're going to see 10 or 12 different apps. These are called vaults. These vaults allow you, your kid, to hide pictures and videos they don't want you to see. Okay? The most popular one is the calculator app. It looks like a calculator. It works like a calculator. If you put 1 + 1 =, it'll give you 2. The default password to this app is .1234 . And you hit a C, and then it's going to open up all the pictures and videos they don't want you to see. So you're like, oh my God, I had no idea. How do I know my kid has this? Easy. No kid needs 2 of the same calculators on their phones. If they have 2 of the same calculators, you know one of them is a vault. Okay? So that's what you got to watch out for. The worst offender in this is Snapchat. So if you have Snapchat, ladies and gentlemen, open it up on your phone. Okay? I'm going to show you how to do this. So I'm going to go to my Snapchat. This is my Snapchat. Okay, it's hard to see in this thing here. Okay, so follow me along. Next to your Snap button, which is the big round one, on the left, there are a deck of cards. Hit that. When you hit the deck of cards, see if you can see that. It's kind of hard to see. No. Okay. You will see home. It's different now. You'll see home, camera roll, dreams, screenshots. You pull it over and you're going to see my eyes only. If you have a pad there, that means your kid is already hiding the worst possible pictures you will ever see them take of themselves. Or they're collecting someone else's. And don't let them kid you. If you see the pad, they know what the code is. Mom, I don't know what that is. Or I set that up a long time ago. They will use every excuse not to give you that code because they're the most raunchiest pictures they possess. So go into that My Eyes Only. What you're going to see is going to astonish you. Okay, we have some chats here.
There's a lot of surprise on the technology. It's like I said, the wicked never rest. They keep coming up with new stuff. So we got to keep up on it.
That's right.
What do you mean? It says, what's the password again? Is that a universal password? I don't think that's what he means.
No, for the calculator app, there's a default password. So if you hit .1234 and you hit AC, that album's going to show up where they're hiding their pictures.
So it
now
is
this last year, this company had an update. Listen to this update. They installed the shake feature. So if they're in their vault and you go into their room, all they have to do is shake it and it deletes the app so you can't see it. And then the second thing that they did is that there are not 3 or more attempts. If there are 2 or more attempts, it'll delete the account. Like if a parent's trying to snoop into it, it'll delete the account.
So you're saying that if somebody tries to get into this, it will automatically shut itself down.
Yep. But then all you have to do is go into the App Store and hit vaults like hide my pictures, when you see it come up, there'll be a cloud with a down arrow. When you hit the cloud with the down arrow, it's going to take it from their cloud and it's going to reinstall it.
How many
So-
parents are happy that their kids are getting this information on Friday?
Yeah, this, I told you, this stuff is, could save a lot of heartache and pain.
So now we're going to go into the portion where Matt and I talk about why monitoring is important. Okay. Now, Matt, it's up to you how you want to do this, brother. If you want me to play this video, or if you want to talk about Tyree, I think it's more beautiful coming from you. It's up to you, bro.
I can talk about it. I can just,
Okay.
just tell the story rather than watch the video.
Yeah.
Okay, so I told you guys earlier that I started a nonprofit organization with it's geared towards kids from my city that are fatherless and need guidance in life. It turned out to be a lot of gang members and young men who come, and it's a really cool dynamic that we have at my group, because you'll see kids that wouldn't normally be associated with the police coming, and we love them. We teach them, mentor them, walk them through life. I teach them about God. I teach them about how to be a man. And we just generally the jack of all trades, and get them help that they need, resources. And so I've been doing it for 10 years. And I told you guys I had 7 kids earlier, but I really had 8. And one of them was a kid that I met in my city. His name was Tyree. I ended up basically adopting him. He was 17 when I met him, and he was on probation for stabbing a kid. And he just wanted some help. I was weary of him at first. It's funny because he came from our most violent intersection in our city. And when I first met him, I almost thought it was like maybe it was a setup, because this was back when things were getting hot between the public and police. So I kind of went there. I was like, man, this kid, he doesn't seem like a random kid. Maybe this is a setup. So I actually went there in my mind, and it turned out to be he was just a young man that he was orphaned when he was born. His mom and his dad left him at the hospital, and he sat there for 2 weeks, and he was adopted by a foster mother. And she died when he was 3. So he was kicked around from different situations, different homes, different. He was in and out of juvie a lot, because he got in a little bit of trouble when he became a teenager. So when I met him, he just wanted hope, and he turned out to be my adopted son, and basically like the best young man I've ever met. He was. I loved him so dearly. He took on my kids. Were like, he was a big protector. Tyree was a big kid. He was if you've seen him on the street, you know this kid is I say he's no joke. When you see him, he protected my son, my sister. He was just a wonderful young man. We got him on his feet. Baptizing him was one of the most beautiful things that I've ever seen on earth, and getting to know and love him. So things rolled. He was set. We were going to get him a job, and he just turned 21. He was going to get up on his feet. We got all his paperwork and all of his criminal situation settled, and he was basically a free man. And on April 13th of 2019, and I'll never know why, I got the worst phone call of my life. And Tyree took his own life. And it's still to this day the hardest thing that I've ever had to endure on earth, dealing with that. I'll never know why. I'll never be able to talk to him, ask him. So I say that story to lead into this. It correlates directly to this training. I made the discovery that in the 3 days prior to Tyree taking his own life, he was on his social media. And he was basically crying out for help. And I could have stopped it in a heartbeat if I would have seen it. So that's why I can either deal with this pain, not say anything about it, or I can tell this story to maybe help somebody else. Because that's what Tyree would have wanted. Monitor your baby's stuff. I cannot stress how important that is. I cannot, I can't take back what happened, but I can tell this story and to make sure to stress that you can stop this from happening. Monitor it. I don't care if you're tired. I don't care if you think that your child is just going through a normal routine. If it's a mundane thing, look at their social media, know what's on there, monitor it, and stay up with them, because it literally can save their life. And I love that I get to share this story and use it to help out. That's what Tyree would have wanted. So. We back on, Rich?
Oh, yeah.
I know that Matt struggles with this, and when I show this video of him doing this, we did this in studio, and when we did this in studio, you see how affected he is, and this is him dealing with his trauma. And if he can save one kid, right, and pass this on to you, it becomes all that more powerful. We can save one kid through all our efforts. It's all worth it. So I want to explain to you the different methodology on how monitoring happens. Are any of you right now, hit us up in the chat, are any of you right now thinking about getting your kid a phone? Chat me up. Okay, so they all have them. If you're in the position of considering getting your kid a phone, get them an Android. I know some of you are saying, oh shit, I just gave him my old one. So I know that you gave them your old iPhone, or the best phone to give them is the Bark phone. Okay. In the Bark phone, what happens is, so there's 3 levels. If you give your kid an iPhone, Apple does not allow real-time monitoring of their devices. Okay. So Bark will work. I gave all of you, Miranda, did you pass out the Bark handouts that I gave you?
I did not yet. Well, I mean, we're
Okay.
virtual, so I can mail it to the people that are on.
Yeah, you can email it, just email it to them.
Okay.
Or you can go to my website. Let me pull it up here. Let me move this here. You can go to my website at bsureconsulting.com. Okay. And then you go to schools. And then you just come down to monitoring software. Okay, and it'll show you if you put in the code Be Sure in the coupon code, you'll get it free for 30 days to try it out. Okay, and here's a flyer that goes along with that. Now, there's something called onboarding if you want to put this on an iPhone. All right. So I want to show you the difference. So if you go to Google and type in what Bark monitors. Okay. So I'm going to click on what Bark monitors. Okay. So let's start with an iOS, with an Apple phone. When you can see here what they monitor when it comes to Apple. So you can get Kick if they're in Kick. You can get Instagram, but you're only going to get your child side, not what's coming in. Get YouTube, but Discord no, TikTok no, Skype no, Snapchat no. You can't get in there if they have an iPhone. Now, if they have an Android phone, okay, let's go into Android. It'll work in real time. You can get into their Discord, everything. You can get into their Instagram, everything. You can even now get into their Roblox. That's new. You get into their Snapchat, except for pictures and videos. Their Steam, their TikTok, their WhatsApp, their YouTube. It will alert you on everything that they have. Now, if you go to Bark Phone, check this out. This is a phone made by Bark. It's an Android with it already built in. Check this out. You will have full remote control of their text, their photos, their videos, their browsing. If you see that your kid is on their phone during dinner, you can go to your phone, go to the app, and turn off their phone remotely. How about that? You get into Discord, Hala, Instagram. It will get into everything they have. If you only want them to have one social network, you can let them have one social network. If they're not doing their homework, you can shut off all the social networks if you wanted to. The Bark phone is like $25 with service a month. That's probably average, but it's really good. And there's a code that I have on my website for you to use and do it. Let me show you an example of how it works. Let me see. Hold on one second. Let me share again. Where to go? Share. See, this is the checks that you have to do here, Matt. I just wanted to show you that when you're playing a video.
Want to see your child struggling with suicidal thoughts.
Oh, okay.
But today, the threat is hidden deep within their phones.
You got to turn the volume up. We can't hear it.
Yeah, let me
Kids. And cyberbullying makes this threat a much more present reality. That's why I rely on Bark. Built by parents.
let me narrate this. So what happens is kid's on his phone. He gets saying that, why don't you just go kill yourself? Mom's looking through her phone, and all of a sudden she gets an alert from Bark. When she hits that, it'll show you exactly either what came in or what's going out of his phone, and it'll alert you self-harm, drugs, grooming, sexting, sextortion, drinking, alcohol. It'll all relate it to you. And immediately with the Bark phone. So one of the things we're going to tell your kids on the 19th, we finish off with this slide. And our message is a message of empowerment. Every time we teach a student class, it's like this. This is how we started off. No one has the right to make you feel bad about yourself online. No one has the right to make you do something you know you shouldn't be doing. If you're sitting here listening to me suffering in silence for the next hour and 15 minutes, and you're suffering in silence, you need to come see me after the presentation because I can make your pain stop. Because when it comes to social networking and gaming online, and we tell them this 4 or 5 times to empower them, to encourage them that they do not have to be victims. Come see me and I can make your pain stop. I want to finish with this. If someone ever tells you your child, someone ever tells you, don't tell your parents. That person is going to do you harm, no matter what. I don't care if it's at school someone's telling you this, social media someone's telling you this, gaming, your team, your sport at church, that person is going to do you harm. Anyone, anywhere, ever tells you don't tell your parents, they're going to do you harm. Now, unless your parents are doing the harm, it's not what I'm talking about. So parents, I encourage all of you, if you have your child's phone, go into their text messages, and you know where that says search, just type in don't tell and see what pops up. You would be astonished that someone is telling your kid not to tell your parents. So we're gonna stop this share right now and we're gonna open it up for questions. Anything else to add, Matt?
I wish I could be in the school with you guys to go over the you're gonna tell them the chant?
I am. I'm gonna tell them chant. So let me let's see where I got that.
One quick question too. Any tips for monitoring TikTok?
Yes, the only way to monitor into TikTok is getting a Bark phone. Other than that, I would create your own TikTok and make sure your kid adds you and you add your kid.
Yep. And you can also check their liked. A lot of the history of what they like will show up on if they don't have that setting on. Go to their liked videos. It'll show you what they're actually looking at, the type of videos, and it actually will show you the ones that they have hearted. Don't let them put that do not share liked setting on there, so you can check their liked videos.
So Matt, while I'm getting this up, try to talk to them about the FYP page. FYP, what they're seeing.
So the FYP page on TikTok is really, it's just a synopsis of it kind of, what it does is it almost reads your mind on your phone. It will send you what you've been interested, the full videos that you've watched for the most amount of seconds, what you've liked. It is the FYP page will just show up and it will basically give you what you've been searching for. So you can always check out a kid's FYP page too, because if you see a bunch of inappropriate dancing, inappropriate sexual stuff, stuff that's foul, it'll come up on the FYP page because it's kind of like the tattletale of TikTok. So you can monitor that as well. For You page is what it stands for.
Oh, okay, guys, we actually have a couple of questions too. So is it true that you can run a report to see snaps? I don't believe that we said that, but I'll let you guys answer.
No, you cannot. I will show you though a little secret. If you want to do this with your kid, it's up to you. Let me share this here. Am I sharing my screen? Oh, let me share my screen. Okay, so let me show you this little secret. If you go into accounts.snapchat.com, we see that? Accounts.snapchat.com. You can put their email and set it up or the phone number. You hit next. You put the password in. I have two-step authentication. And I'm in. Okay, so this is what you can do in Snapchat. So you see where it says My Data? So let's say this is your kid's account. You hit My Data. Include memories, include JSON files. Go to page 2. Hit submit. You can go, I can go from last year to this year and get every single video and messaging that they've ever had. So yeah, that's what you can do to look at your stuff. It'll come up in something called a My Data zip file. It'll be sent. Let me show you what it looks like. Comes in a zip file like this. And if they're, I don't use Snapchat all that much, and all the videos will be showing here for the last 30 days. So you can go to HTML and you get their account information, you get their account history. You can get where they've been, you can get all their messages. You can get their chat history, who they've been chatting with. You can read the chat if you want. So all you got to do is to go into accounts.snapchat.com and sign in, and you get all that stuff.
Oh, man. I think that's
Causing a lot of problems.
Well, that was wonderful. Thank you.
Glad you enjoyed it. And again, you'll have this posted to your website. You can also Google my name in YouTube. You can Google Matt's name in YouTube, see his story, and you get more information. We also do the parent presentation in English, Spanish, Polish, and Arabic.
Wow, that's epic. And that's on your website, correct?
Yes. All my team members are on the website.
And like I said earlier, Rich is the most accessible fellow officer I've ever been in contact with. I'm not just saying that. He will pick up the phone. He's Rich is the man.
That's why God put me here. He gave me some special talents, and this is how I use it to save as many kids as I possibly can.
I don't know if it's ever rang more than twice.
Are there any other pressing questions before we let our wonderful presenters go? Again, just a reminder, families, talk to your students about this. In addition, your students will be getting a student version from Rich's team on Friday.
All right. That's a wrap.
And cut. All right, all. Thank you so much for this.
All right.
I will invite you all to leave unless you have something for our presenters specifically.
Thanks, guys. And share it all over CPS. We're the only game in town in Chicago Public Schools, and we'd love to bring it to the other schools in Chicago as well. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, families. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and end the recording all. So if you need Rich, he did put his information in the chat. Thank you.